and know what's going on with this one. So we're just jumping right in the middle. Basically, learning to draw this little vehicle. We're talking about how to draw from imagination and understanding the forms and the construction of things so that we can then draw them from imagination later. It doesn't mean that you can draw anything without knowing anything about anything. It means that you need to learn to understand things and know how to draw basic forms and be able to put them in different kinds of perspective so that you can then memorize enough about an object and the construction of an object so that you can rebuild those in any way that you want later on without having that reference around. So like I said, we'll be killing just a minute here so people can have a chance to notice the stream is turned on again, and we'll get going. We're working on this little photo here. This was from, man, this chair is uncomfortable. I've got to go get a better chair. This is a hard little metal chair. This is the little photo that I picked up from photobash.org, not a sponsor. But they have I guess hundreds of photo packs, royalty free, that you can buy as artists and use for reference or for concept art, whatever. There was a nice little collection of, I think they were Chinese vehicles that he took photos of. And this is one that we're learning to draw right now. It's such a fun little shape, fun little vehicle. To start with, it is just a basic cube, and this is a draw along. I forgot to mention that. This is draw along. So grab your sketchbook and grab your pen. I'm using a pen because, honestly, it allows you to get over mistake phobia. A lot of people have a problem making a mistake, and it holds them back because they don't jump out and try things enough. And when you're using the pen, you will make mistakes. And so you learn how you can deal with that. You get okay with things not being perfect and still moving forwards anyway. So for me, that's one of the reasons that I use it. Yeah. I tell you what, Kayla, you know why I think the stream ended? I think it ended because cat powers. My cat was hungry, and I think she sat over there and used her little cat powers to end this stream and cut off my internet so that I'd be forced to get up and feed her. She knew that I would not feed her if I was sitting here working on this. So that's what happened. That's the story. I'm sticking to it. So here we have our little vehicle, and we're talking about the proportions. That this is about 2 fists or so. It's not quite halfway. It's a little past a third down. Kind of looking at that ratio. We're looking at the ratio here that these doors are. This one's a little long. Honestly, it should be about that long right there. Mine's, I think, a little long. So the doors are about the same width, probably exactly the same width, if you were looking at those proportions. So these are a couple of things that we want to keep in mind so that when we redraw it later, even if we want to change it or make derivations of it, it's good to remember some of the basics so that, oops, didn't mean to hit that. Going forwards, you could redraw it properly if you wanted to. So those are about even, and then you just have that extra little window and space on the back. And then you've got this, mine wasn't rounded quite enough, but that's okay. Something like that. Then on our, okay, I'm moving this out of the way. I need to be able to see the actual photo myself instead of looking at that screen. Oh no, that's going to throw you guys off. Hang on. How do I do this? I've not done this setup with OBS before. I'm trying to think how I can do it without messing everybody up. I think I can go like this and then make this window smaller in OBS. Yes, that way it's big enough on my screen that I can see it without having to squint. There we go. No, there we go. There we go. And then let's grab iMac Cam and move him over. There. Now you guys can see it, and I can see it, and we can keep going. So let's go ahead and grab our proper pen. For this one, who do we want to use? No, I keep getting windows in the way. I can't see. Cats are like that, yeah. Neil Gaiman had a great little, I think, one-shot comic on cats and how cats used to be the rulers of the world, but humankind's dream together in order to, because he's just making all this up. But if you ever looked at Neil Gaiman's little one issue on cats and them meeting together at night in the cemetery to talk about how to return back to glory and stuff, it's a pretty interesting little read. Okay, no, I wasn't using that guy. I'm not used to talking through while I'm doing these drawings. No, I don't want... Where did OBS go? There we go. Okay, now I think I'm situated. So I'm going to start with one of these simple angles, and we're going to draw it as we see it right now, and then we're going to make variations of it. One of the simplest lines would be either this line back here, the back line, because it's basically just straight, or this top line. I'm going to go ahead and just start with the top line, which is coming down slightly due to our perspective or viewing angle on it. I don't think it actually gets shorter. Maybe it does, but not by much. So I'll go ahead and just make that one. Yep, good enough. Now that's setting our perspective and our angle and the size for our vehicle. I'm just trying to get that in camera correctly, somewhere around there. And that's not a perfect square, right? The door's going to come out. Looks like that curve comes out here a little bit. But this can come over here, come down, and then it goes in. And I'm just looking, those are almost the same length. Really close, actually, really close. Yeah, basically that's about a cube. So I'm just thinking kind of where that goes. When you're drawing with a pen like this, you've got to think about where the line is going before you start making the line. And that's really important. And then that would be coming to about here. And I can just make a dot there if I want. The door comes past that, and then the door comes down. See, what I was thinking in my head is that this point and the bottom of that door are the same, but they're not. That actually curves out, and the door comes down to about here. Okay. And that allows you to have this angle. This. And then we can get that curve, and that's a big simple curve, so I'll go ahead and put that on there. You know what, I'm going to change that a little bit. He's got that mirror right there. I'm going to go ahead and just put that mirror on the front. That is in front of everything else. And I'm going to change the shape of it. I'm going to put a little ball on the back of it because I like that shape. And then I can attach that arm where I want it, but he's going to be in front, so I went ahead and just put him on there. That needs to round kind of like this. Yeah, close enough. And then he's got like a little arm right there. Yeah, like this. And I have like a little thickness on that. And the door, the level of these windows and the level of this one are not the same. This one is just about half. So we've got a little support line there. And you see, I'm not even paying exact attention to the way this thing is constructed. I'm just getting pretty close. Good enough that I can remember what it's doing going forwards. Now, I want to remember that it has black curved windows. It has that black sealer, I guess, that goes around the outsides. Like that. And we can see a little bit of the dash in there, so I'll just kind of indicate that, and a little speaker top and gear thingies. Yeah, there we go. And a little light. And for this, I'm not going to draw the little dude, but I'll just say that there was like some sort of little logo, some text on it. Draw a little something there, just to remember, okay, it's got like a sticker or something. It's got a little light down here. Put a little light on there. I got like thickness on this. I'm just sort of guessing that right there. And we've got a rail that goes along the top here. I think I'm going to let that rail go out a little bit. A little past the end, just to break up that silhouette some. And he's got support brackets. I'm going to make the support brackets a little more visible. Help me remember that they're there. And that goes all the way up to there. Cool. And we'll go ahead and round out the top here. Remember, guys, be drawing along with me. You got the photo right there. You're looking at what I'm looking at. Got a little loop. Now, I would have not thought to put a loop there. I would have thought to put some brackets on the top, but not the loop. So that's a good one that I need to remember going forwards. It's got the little bars, and the bars on this one don't go the whole way. That's very common that they would go further, but this one doesn't. It just comes to here, which gives it part of its personality. So we'll just put them in there as we see them. And then we see the ones on the other side with the perspective, but they're much shorter. We can barely see them. So just way down there like that. Okay. And he's got another loop on the front. Of course he does. Nice little addition there. Okay. And we want to throw some hinges on these doors. He's got hinges on the top and bottom. So just basically little cylinders, if they were big enough that you could see the volume with them. And then they have the two dashes, right? If you understand how a hinge works, it has the one part from the door that goes in the middle, and then the top and bottom pieces from the, or I mean vice versa, top and bottom from the other one. Now the division of the doors, you can kind of make them where you want. Well, I'm going to start by doing this back one actually, and doing the tops. Tops, yeah. I'll do this one first. That'll be close enough. This won't be perfect. But he sits in this little frame. And this window, again, is rounded. It has that thick black sealer, I guess, around it. I won't worry about what's inside at the moment. Now these, we want to know that those two doors are split even. So I already decided where the end of it is, and I decide where the end of this one is. I just need to know where the middle is, which is right about there. And then I can go ahead and block in the thickness on both of those. Those doors sit, and then that has that little middle bar that comes all the way down. And it comes down to here, and then you get another hinge, and then it comes down to here, and you get another hinge. So I'll put those in because the hinges overlap that little frame piece here. And then the angle, these little spots on the doors, it's got like little extra little lines that come across right there. This pen cannot go real thin, so I normally wouldn't draw it quite like this with all of the lines being this heavy, but that's what I have to go with right now. And this one sets basically the window depth for all of these. How far the windows go down, I mean. Now these windows are different. See, they don't have that rounded corner. I don't know that I like that as much, but I'll draw it like we see it here. I think going forwards I might just round all the windows if I were to draw a similar vehicle again, because I think it's a nice little look. Took that a little far right there, but okay. And we have to, of course, have our door handles, and he has just simple door handles like you would have on a drawer. They get a little fatter on the middle, then it's round where it connects up there. Remember, if you guys have questions or comments, feel free to put them in the live chat, and I will try to address them as we're going. Now, I didn't pay enough attention. The lock is right here, but I'm going to just put the lock on the other side, or underneath it. I'll put the lock underneath it. There we go. Got the lock. Right there. And again, we've got some verbiage here. So I'll just put some swoopy lines with some like stuff behind it as if it's some sort of logo. I don't read that language. I have no idea what that's saying. I don't even know if I want to copy what it's saying. It's probably just saying like, get a free ride or something. There we go. Now we need to get to doing this little wheel back here. I will start by doing the hub. We'll bring that down just a little bit more. The wheel has a little space there in the back because the wheel's inset from the hub slightly. It's mainly dark there. And I want to flatten the bottom of it just a little bit, make it look like it has some weight. And we inset the hubcap. And then we can inset the piece into that. I'll just make some squiggly lines. We don't have enough room with enough detail there to do anything, well, prominent, detailed with that. We see a little bit of a bumper sticking out. We don't want to forget him. Yeah, so he's there. What else am I missing? Oh yeah, front wheel, all right. What is this vehicle called? I'm not sure. some sort of cart. I would say tuk-tuk, but I don't think it's a tuk-tuk. It might be considered some sort of version of that, though. The front wheel would be setting in the middle of the vehicle, so it won't be on the same plane as this one. It would be set back a bit, like you can see it in the photo. It's about even with this one. So I'm going to start by just putting that top little fender there, and it comes out from that fender. Comes out here. There we go. And we could make our wheels black just to make them look a little more wheel-like. A little shadow under it. We're seeing through the vehicle some, so we can go ahead and do some of that we see on the inside. And we can see the kind of the steering apparatus there a little bit of that other dash on the other side, some of that other window over there, some of this window, and then the inside got like a little door handle back there. We got the back of the seat. We've got some, there's a divider, like some sort of line that goes down the middle of both of those on the inside. I couldn't really see that. I guess they have curtains in the back of these. That seems kind of odd, but okay. I don't think I'm going to put curtains in mine, though. I think I'm going to just have it more like this. Yeah. That's good. Drawing on iPad is nice to practice observation. Would you agree that drawing from life is the best way to truly understand forms of various objects of life? Yeah, generally speaking. There's some things that you can. Like, I don't have this vehicle, so I wouldn't necessarily be able to draw it from life. So what you can't observe from life, like, I could get a book or a camera or something like that and draw it from here from life, from, straight observation. But if you can't, then, photos are good. Physical things are great because you can, get them and, if you want to learn how to draw these headphones, well, I could just turn these headphones around and look at the forms. And that's not something that you can necessarily do with a photo. You can't get the full effect of the 3D nature of it. But you can get a lot, even like this one. We can draw it again now without any other photos of it and see how well we do. Now, what we're going to do now is go and switch back over here to another image. And so that we can't necessarily look at the original again. And we're going to draw the same vehicle or something very similar to it from a different angle. Because what you can do is have there's a pitfall where if you had the photo and you draw the photo, great. All right, that's good practice, but you can get in copy mode. And then the copy mode, you're not actually thinking about what you're drawing. So as we've approached this, we've intentionally been trying to think about the forms and the proportions involved so that we could draw them from imagination and without reference. Now, I'm actually going to be playing in some of the ideas that I learned in those drawings to help me fill out some things that I didn't have the information of in the photo that we were just looking at. Okay, well, where did I set that other pen down? What was this one? Oh, this one feels better. Yeah, okay, so this is the Pigma Graphic 1. I think he's feeling better. He's giving me a thinner line. That other one's just... He's excellent if you want to go a little thicker. Are they the same? They can't be the same. That one's way fatter. What's the difference here? This is just me being curious. Why are these different? They're both Pigma Graphic, one. But one of them is easily half the size of the other. Has it just been blunted? No, you can tell they have slightly different tips. It's a noticeably thinner tip. I don't know. Okay. Move my bony rear again. So now let's think about drawing this in a different angle. We'll do some little guys up here, right? So remember, the basic form is a cuboid with a rounded front on it. Little sphere back there, cylinder. And then it's got a cylinder here. Now this cylinder fits into a groove right there. He sticks out partly. Mostly. There. Now we're kind of making up what some of the things have been on the front. Now this isn't my main drawing. This is just me kind of showing how you would go about it, right? You're starting with that basic, simple to understand shape, which is your form. Say that you're looking up at it. I'm not taking my time with this, right? I'm not trying to do very good with it. I'm trying to give you a quick understanding of how I would be mentally approaching it. And then you got to have some headlights on here. I can borrow the headlights from the other one and see, I have that sort of thing going on there. Got the little loops on the top that we looked at, a little side bits there. You'd have like your little side mirrors. And then this stuff just kind of gets into, oh yeah, like, you know, got your little hinges and you can go in and add that stuff later. But the whole idea is being able to map those little specific details to the actual form that you're coming up with. Yeah, tuk-tuk is, I think it's a fairly broad term for that tri-wheeled little vehicle. The frames that they put on them can vary drastically. It can just be the basic thing with a cart on the back, or it can be fully enclosed like this one is. But I think they're still considered tuk-tuks. So those are those little guys. Let's see what else. I'm just trying to think of like a different angle. Looks like a 3/4 view maybe from. Do one a little better here. Little less of the foreshortening. Okay. I'm just trying to remember the things that we paid attention to last time. And there's not a specific order that I'm doing these. Oh, I needed that to curve off the other way. Well, I'm going to make that bar stick out a little further. And then you got that bar on the top. You've got the little eyelets for tying things down. And I'm trying not to actually look at my other drawing. I'm trying to go off of my memory without looking at the other one, just to help ingrain what I remember. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and round these. This pen is so much better to work with. This is this is the thickness I really wanted. Allows me to draw it this size that I kind of wanted to draw at. And then I remember that I needed to put the lock on there. And then I can put the handle. I don't know, this is super tiny. I really should be drawing it bigger for the camera, but there we go. You can just draw along with me. Remember that there was a little segment there. A segment on each of the bottom pieces. And then we have hinges, right? And I should have put the hinges on first since they overlap, but I didn't. So we'll just toss them on there like that. And I simplified that form there so that it's all going to just meet up in the right way. This area is a little more confusing, so I'm going to start with this area up here, since it's a little safer to start with, shape-wise, and this one. I'm going to start with, actually, the side mirror, because I'm not sure where he needs to go, but what I do know is I can make that little arm go wherever I want it to, right? All I know is he's going to be in the front, so I'll go ahead and put him there, and I'll put the arms where I want him. And it's the same way that you can do with characters. That say that you have a character here, and you know he's standing here. What you can do is just draw the hands wherever you want them. Then you figure out how those connect to the body. You don't necessarily have to draw from here out to the hand. Right? You can draw the hands first and then connect them in. So that's essentially the same thing that I'm doing here. I'll do that. And then I know that this is going to curve down here, something like this. This side is basically going to follow the same angle, at least to here. I'm not sure if it's going to get overlapped, so I'm going to just take it to about there. That wasn't enough curve to it, but not much I can do about that now. Maybe it narrows in the front. It does on mine now. The window is going to come down to about the same level, and it's going to have to curve. It's going to have that black curved piece. And we could see a bit of the driving pieces there. This is where we do have to play in some knowledge from other things, since we didn't have a good enough angle on the photo. There has to be a control, like that. Those handles go down there to control that. So you have to be able to steer it. I'm just thinking it probably has some sort of lines there. This might also have some sort of lines on the top, some grooves going down the top of it. I've seen that on other vehicles. That little reflector light down there. And we can put some sort of signage or markings or something on the side of that. And some little, nuts or bolts, that sort of thing. Put those up in the corners, just help fill in that, make that feel a little more lived in. And we think about the volumes of what's going on in there, and you would have that other window back here. We'd have maybe this guy's seat, right, back in here. Maybe he's got some other seats back there too. Let's say that he's got some headrest here. Those have the little metal thing that come down. Connect to that. Then you have that back window back here. And I don't know, maybe there were some lines in the ceiling of like reinforcements or something. And you can see that window, and then it would be a bar across there with reinforcements where you can see that other window. Yeah. Where are we on the camera? Yeah, there you go. And that would be a similar vehicle. We can do it again because I made it much too skinny. It should be much broader and fatter than that, more like this guy. But say that we're going to be looking down on it more. I'm going to have this. In this case, I'm going to start with actually this line right here. This line, this bar. I think that might be about like that. Seems about right. Don't know that there is actually a line connecting that, or if it's just folding over. Not sure. I think what I'll do is sort of give it a line back here on the back, and maybe these are two different panels that those connect into. Put little connection lines right there. And then that's like a severe angle. I should have put him on first, but I didn't, so I'm just going to draw over it. Give some thickness to that since we can see inside of it. And then we can see a little bit on the dash. And remember, we're drawing the speaker right there. He's got like a little fan sitting there to blow on him. And I'm not real clear on what's going on with the steering situation. Yeah, I'm gonna do something like that. I think maybe it has like sort of ribs for reinforcement up here. And our little screws. And then we have that other bar that came off that doesn't stick out very far, but for this angle, he's very visible. And you would see just a little bit of some of the vertical lines where the windows are at down there. I don't know that you'd just barely be able to see some of that wheel kind of sticking out there. I'm running off the page here. Anything else up here? Oh, we probably have some bolts. If this is all bolted together, we might put some big bolts right there in the corners. We might even put in some little age lines. Just some little nicks and dashes here or there. Just kind of make it look like it's got a little texture to it. Add a little groove or thickness to those side plates. And then we can indicate even this fellow's seat, right? We'd be able to see that a little bit in there. And maybe the box or something that it's sitting on. Usually it's pretty simple. Put some little texture lines in there. See a little bit of the inside of that door. Maybe the handle on there. You can see just the indication of that that there. Okay, so let me take a break there real quick. Any questions? Let me just get my eyes up here for a second. James says, what a fun thing to draw. You draw vehicles often? No, I don't. I actually rarely draw vehicles. I just had to come across that photo pack and I was like, they're cool. They're cool and they're not that difficult to learn to draw compared to a lot of things because they use such simple shapes. And when you know some vehicle design, then it's not too hard to move forwards with using that knowledge on other ones. All right, I can apply knowledge from some card that I drew previously to drawing this thing, or vice versa. Right? Has anybody told you you have an oddly shaped head? Do I? I think it's pretty average actually, but no, they haven't. So I think you're on the minority with that one. How long have I been drawing seriously? Started really taking it more serious when I was about 14. So over 20 years. You disagree. You think I have an oddly shaped head. Well, thank you so much, Kayla. Oh, no, see, I'm looking at my other sketch up there, and I put lights on the top. That's actually kind of a nice idea. You could put some lights like up here. No, but I can't do it over there. Maybe I'll just put like some little lights right here. And sometimes they have like maybe a bar light or something on the top. You have a beautiful head, and don't you let me tell you otherwise. I know I do. Look at this. Perfection. Okay, let's draw it again. I should do it at least 3 times, right? Different angle, different angle. We draw it facing that way. We might draw it from it facing, maybe from the back. Yeah, we haven't drawn it from the back, but we should make up kind of what the back looks like. Oh, that's something else I didn't put. I didn't put the little fender sticking out right there. Yep. Okay. So I'm assuming the back is, we're going to just start with what would be that corner line going down. And we're taking a fairly low perspective on this. Yeah, I don't want to go fully underneath it. That would be, I'm not sure what they look like underneath at all. But we'll just do it kind of like this. Eye level will be about with the level of the wheel down there. Yeah, again, I was going to make him a little too skinny. Just bring that out a little bit. Yeah, I really enjoy doing this kind of drawing, and it's something I just want to get better at. So I'm not sure how many of these videos I'll do, but if you like doing this sort of thing, then, or at least just watching me or draw along while I'm doing this, even if you're drawing something else, that's cool. I forgot to put the eyelet right there, but you know what? That's okay. Sometimes when you forget something and remember it later, it just forces you to think about different ways of doing it. So I'll just move the eyelets to being there instead. And that's cool. There might even be one out there that actually looks like that. You're drawing along, James? Glad to hear it. Thanks, man. Put my little handles in there. Put my little lock right there. Put my mirror. Sometimes on mirrors they have like the little round thing. The little round piece on the mirror that gives them a wider view. So I'll just put that on there as well. And then this wheel is inset a little bit. Now, the thing about the wheel, and this threw me off a little bit, we'll move up here for a second, is remembering that, okay, let's say you just have a cylinder to start with. Okay, so that's your basic form, right? That when I would go to draw a wheel, I would just do it like a oval. But it's not, because you're not accounting for the actual thickness of it. So if you were to draw just the silhouette, it would be like this, rounding, and then being like that. And then you would inset that, be overlapping, right? Because this also is rounding. Rhomboid? Is that right? That just came to my mind. Is that a rhomboid? The donut shape. So it's like a rhomboid, and then that's inside of it like this. That makes sense. It's 1:30 in the morning. Yeah, boss. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Thanks for joining. And of course, yeah, just pick it up later. So I want to think that it's coming down, and then we have the actual thickness of it, and then it picks up over here. Maybe even thicker than that. We'll add some shadow coming across it. And then we would see, just kind of do a silhouette of that front wheel up there. And then that other wheel would be inset a little bit. And then you'd have his thickness, and then that on the other side. We'd probably pick up some sort of rod or something down there. Oil pan or something, some little shape there. So we'll put that there. And I've seen that on a lot of bumpers. They have, again, sort of stability grooves or extra little bumps like that. So on there, that's really tilted on the camera. Here, let me turn it. Like that. This window is going to be, I think, at about the same level. And it's going to have that top bar just continuing the same design on the other sides. Oh, I should have that hang over a little bit, but we'll just do that. And set those a little bit. And then we like the round piece inside of the window. here. It probably has some backlights, right? So we'll say that those are more rectangle than round. And it could have like a little round one on the ends, and then have like little vertical segment lines for some of the lights inside of there. Yeah, good enough. And then probably some little frame that goes around it. And might even have another panel break across here. It's a little thicker than I meant. A couple of little... Oh, like some sort of little license plate sort of thing. There. Maybe there's some stickers. Yeah. Sticker tags. That's common. Whatever information that they need to say who they're with, or, you know, vehicles up to date, all that sort of thing. And probably some reflectors up here too. And this is where just, you know, thinking about it. Just thinking about it. If you were doing, if you were just making a vehicle, what would you need? If you were driving a vehicle, what would you need? If you were driving down the road and you looked up and saw a vehicle, what would you see? It's literally just thinking through the construction of something and using some common sense to say, what would I be seeing? What would make sense to be there? And the more that you know, in this case, about vehicle construction, vehicular design, then the less that you'd be guessing. Because we're not making a particular vehicle. We're just trying to make a believable, passable vehicle that's made up. And I think that we're getting enough of those telltale signs in there that you would look at it and you wouldn't know that it wasn't drawn by some sort of reference. Just put a little horizon line or something there so it doesn't look like it's completely floating. Put a little shadow under him too. We need to do a little bit more. Man, I like this one. I don't know why this one's so much different. Oh, right there it says, right there, 1.0 mm. Is this one the same? No, they both say they're 1. I guess one just got flattened a bit. We have like the logos back here. So just do some little squigglies and some little stuff there. Let's see what else up here. Some lines there. Maybe some more thickness on that. You could have some little bolts, just a couple of little marks there for bolts. And then I think you would have to be able to see inside, right? This back window is the little one. It can be like this. But first, things that would overlap it would be some headrest, if there was maybe 2 headrests back here. Probably not. That's probably fancier than what you would actually have in one of these, but we're going to say there's headrests. We turned ours a bit more into like some sort of van. Taurus. It's a Taurus. Alright. So. Taurus. Well, Johnny, I appreciate it. I'm glad you're liking the drawings. So yeah, that's a fun little guy. Let's see if we can have a bit more fun with it. Oh, that was on the back of this dude. Maybe we just fill it in a little bit up here. Where is my camera? Here we go. Okay, so now we can, let's do some simple ones where we just kind of play around with the idea. We start with our basic shape of it. Borrowing the light from the other vehicle that I've done. I'm doing the triple lights. And then making it basically just a one-door guy this time instead of a two-door. Making him super squat. And we're trying to get a bit more of an action kind of cartoony feel out of it, so we're exaggerating some of the lines. I am snacking on some peanut M&Ms. Still want to toss in some things like our hinges. Don't want to forget about the thickness on some of the doors and windows. We'll put that last little window back there. I think on another vehicle I did, they had some little ribbing right down there by the wheel. So I'll go ahead and put that in there. And then to make it extra kind of tall and goofy, we'll put the railings up a little higher on that one. And we forgot to put the railings on there, so we'll put those on. And then a little, can't see much of that bumper, but we'll stick him on there too. And then maybe he's got some lights that come up on the top, right? He has some little hoods come up over those lights. It's like little eyes. Some little ribbons that go up there. Got to throw our door handle on there. Put a little lock on there, a little reflector. Some rubble being kicked up. He's just bouncing along. There he goes. So yeah, and then you can just kind of play with it, right? You can do different stuff to it. Now the peanuts are good. I also do like the peanut butter. I was trying to get the peanut butter ones, but they didn't have the small size. They only had like the really big ones. So, yeah. Well, I think that's pretty good for this one. We went through some variations of exercises. Let's go back through. Just do a quick recap. Some exercises that you can do for this sort of thing. Oh, let me move my... a little drawing over so we have some more room here. Okay. So you can do these sorts of things. Get used to drawing circles and ellipses and varying forms of foreshortening. horizontals, up and down, side to sides. Do tilting ones. Do some where you're tilting it up and down. Do some where you're rotating things from side to side. Get a box, turn it around like this, and then you can get the box more complex. Start adding, an open lid on it where you can see the inside of it, or let it, have a cylinder coming off the back of it connected to another box, right? So that you have to start thinking about how multiple objects connect to each other, right? And then start rotating those. We can do this sort of thing where you have a lineup, but try doing that without having the guidelines. When you're just drawing them, thinking ahead where the next thing needs to be, right? And we have the same sort of thing with cylinders. We have creating a volume and then placing various forms inside of those volumes. You can think about what kind of camera you're viewing it with, whether it's a very undistorted camera or whether it's more of a fisheye distorted kind of high action camera. You can do free floating shapes and forms. And then we can get into doing simple things like books and practicing cuboids in varying perspectives and stuff. And then you can do like a collection of books, and you can start with the really easy ones, which is basically just a cuboid with another little cuboid set in for the pages, and you add some little telltale marks. And then you start opening up some of them so that the pages are fluttering around and that sort of thing. And you think about how they, fit together so that they don't bump into each other. And then do your studies of your photo. You could start by doing just your form studies, where you're just breaking down an X-ray of the forms going on, such as your cubes and your cylinders. And then you can move on to doing your actual study from the photo, which was this guy right here, where you get to understand the identifying proportions and marks and construction of that. Then you use that knowledge to move forwards and do at least, I'd probably say at least 3 different viewpoints and perspectives of some from imagination without the reference. You could even do this on one page and do the other ones on a different page so that you couldn't even look back at that one. And then you just practice doing those. You could even do some little quickies like I did here, which is you're just really quickly throwing what you know, what you remember into a little sketch. And then you can do your more, filled out ones where you're throwing in all the stops there. And then you can try some where you're just experimenting with it and you're changing up the proportion or changing up the details and the construction of it. So, any final questions? Let me take a look to see if there is anything in the chat. Otherwise, I think we'll just wrap it up. I've been going about 2 hours now, and I am getting a little hungry for dinner. Let's see. Kayla says, thank you so much for doing this again. It was nice and cool to see you sketch and your thoughts going into things. Well, thank you, Kayla. I appreciate you joining. And if you enjoy this, please share it. I would love the channel to grow. I really would. And the way that happens is people like it, they share it, and they comment. YouTube loves all of those things. And I can try to put out the best, most useful information possible. But honestly, if viewers don't respond to that, then there's only so much I can do. So please give it a share, give it a like, leave a comment, just say, hey, I enjoyed this. Or actually, this is a little prompt right here. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. But what do you want to see covered in the future? Okay? If we continue with this series where we learn to draw things from imagination, and like next time, if we do another episode along this lines, then we're going to have to do this guy again, but without the reference, just to refresh it. And we're going to add, yeah, I meant to cover this earlier, but what we'll do is add a second, learn to do a second object, a second subject, so that we can put the two of them in the scene together. And then you can do the learn a third thing, and then you can put that third thing in the scene with it. And eventually you know enough things that you can fill an entire scene without having to have, look at anything, and they're all going to be passably good. So, what other things would you like to see that would be in the ballpark of size-wise, like, not an ant? I suppose you could do a giant ant, but I was thinking something a little bit more like, like a park bench would be about the right size. You could put those two in the same scene. That would be reasonable. Eventually, you could get to doing people. We might do some simple practices that get us into doing people. That's one that I'm not real good at. I still like having a lot of references for drawing people in volumes and in scenes. So, going forward, I might look at some practices that we can do that would move us in that direction. But, leave a comment and let me know what stuff you'd like to see. All right, I'll wrap it up there. Thanks again, everybody. I will catch you later. Until then, keep drawing.